All right, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Sandy Jackalow, and on behalf of REBNY, the REBNY Technology Committee, welcome to the fourth annual PropTech Challenge. To give you a little bit of history, back in 2017, we started as a traditional hackathon, running over a weekend with teams creating and presenting PropTech concepts in literally under 48 hours, and then spending some time afterwards building out platforms. Some of them were successful and actually released products, which is really exciting. On that day, though, as a few of us were walking around talking to participants about their solution, it became apparent a weekend simply wasn't enough time to flush out some great ideas. And Ryan Baxter, Duke Long, and I conceptualized the platform that we still have in place today and has taken a shape of its own. And for me, it's been a thrill to watch the challenge evolve over the years, surfacing some really great concepts that may not have made it to life if it wasn't for the PropTech Challenge. Last year we expanded the stage to globally. We had over 90 submissions from 6 countries, over 500 people in attendance, and the winners in each category actually were invited to Cannes for the MIPIM Startup Final, which actually was a virtual event this June. This year, I think is even more exciting. I want to first thank the team at Connected Real Estate Magazine for partnering with REBNY and PropTech Challenge this year. Rich Berliner, Aaron Friedman, and their entire team have done an amazing job. They found this really cool Purple Life platform, which I hope everyone gets to spend some time knowing. And like anything cutting edge and creative, we've all seen a little bit of the technical challenges today throughout with some of the presentations and as we work through the glitches. REBNY has also partnered with Connected Publishing a REBNY Tech Talk series. We already have 5 articles available on their website covering a range of topics, so I suggest you go check them out. Connected also has a great series of sessions today over the 2 days, really. It's being spearheaded by Darlene Pope, who has been a driving force in this industry for years and has cultivated a great program. Collaboratively, our theme for this year's conference is getting tenants back into our buildings safely and securely. And, like everything else, PropTech Challenge has adopted this year. We only had a 3-week submission period, yet received over 50 innovative and creative solutions that went to define a very specific problem set as we try and figure out how to get people back into the buildings. And we had operations and wellness, design, construction, and development, which was this morning and kicked off the conference for us, and brokerage and leasing for both commercial and residential, which is the session we're going to be dealing with now. This year our format is to get as many products in front of everybody as possible to help navigate these challenging times. You can also walk over to the exhibit hall A or B and virtually meet with them, find out some more information, along with some of the other exhibitors and vendors on the connected track as well. As you would expect of these dynamic times that we all face, particularly real estate industry, nearly 60% of our submissions were in the building operation and wellness category. And as a result of that, we're devoting the entire agenda for tomorrow to the category. We're going to have 2 panels, both run by John Gilbert, CEO of Rudin Management, who's also the chairperson of the REBNY Technology Committee, as well as I think another 10 different PropTech companies presenting. Again, we are streaming live. It's out there right now. And there we go. That's a quick introduction because everybody's here to see some great technology. So to kick it off, I'm going to invite Kirk Emerson to the stage from the Emerson Group Dynamica Labs to showcase their product and get the day started. If you do have any questions, please put them in the public chat. And if we have enough time, I will relay them to Kurt for you, and let's rock and roll. So Kurt, why don't you join us on stage?
Thanks, Andy.
And I'm going to exit stage left, as they say, and hang out.
Give me a second to throw my presentation in here.
Go for it now.
All right. Hopefully that'll convert here in a second. I'll Try to get. All right, so thanks for having me, Sandy. As Sandy said, I'm Kurt Emshausen, the Emshausen Group and Dynamica Labs. We've got a history of working together for the last 5 years, developing solutions for commercial real estate that are ultimately intended to really help solve some of the problems that have been historically unattainable within commercial real estate. We've thought about commission calculation, a CRM, which I've been part of an organization, 2 different organizations where I was responsible for the CRM, and that became almost a career limiting move just because CRMs are such a challenging thing in commercial real estate. We sort of set out to tackle that challenge with sort of a paradigm shift of thought around how we actually get realtors, brokers, property managers to actually embrace that kind of technology around the CRM. I think we've come up with something pretty interesting. So, oops, I stepped too far there. Going back the other way. I put screen bigger so I can see it. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I will say, by the way, Kurt, the mouse controls are very sensitive, I guess is a good way to put it, on the presentation tools.
That is for sure. It is jumping me all over the place. So everyone bear with me for 1 second. I'll get back to the beginning. There we go. So data versus information versus knowledge. What we found about, so one of our clients, we were looking at the deals since 2017, and there were 28,837 deals in their platform. Well, what did that really tell us? We had 28,000 deals, but what does that really mean? How do we use that to win business? I need information that goes with that. And then information, as defined, is knowledge communicated or received concerning a particular fact or circumstance. How do I turn that information into knowledge? Ultimately, what matters in the real estate industry? What does every broker tell me is their key? It's changing a little bit in the dynamics. It used to be all about relationships. Now it's about relationships and data. I need to look smart. I need to understand my geography. I need to understand where I'm headed, but I also need to be able to have those relationships work for me years, or they're ones that someone else has cultivated. And now I'm going to try to use the power of our organization to capture that value and help bring new team members into that relationship to help expand business with an existing client. So when you think about relationships, out of those 28,000 deals,
Kurt, your audio broke up for a second, just so you know, we couldn't hear you. We seem to have lost Kurt for a second. My guess is he's just going to have to re-enter the application. So we'll give him a second to join as he starts to talk about data. One thing about data that I will mention, and I know he's going to be talking about his presentation, with CCPA and New York Shield, privacy and data security concerns is something that we all need to be very much concerned with. There are a ton of regulations that continue to go, and he's back. There you go.
Sandy, are you hearing him? Is their audio still out?
Kirk, I still can't hear you.
How about now, Sandy?
Now I can.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that. It just kicked me off the platform for some odd reason. So out of those contacts, we ended up with out of those deals, we ended up with almost 14,000 connections. Well, how do you harness the power of that? Relationships are the currency of our business. How do we create a paradigm shift from relationships we have to relationships we use? To me, that's so important. What I kind of heard consistently on the real estate side from all my broker partners were, I have all these great relationships and I use them to generate, my book of business, my revenue. And then I'd hear from brokers who were either trying to expand the national platform, working on occupier solutions where they're not as traditionally one relationship to a building, and therefore you'd lease a building. There were more multiple relationships, a very dynamic or organic sort of relationship. How do I tap into relationships that the other 1,000 brokers in this firm have to help grow a particular line of business we're trying to expand on? It's either extremely profitable, maybe that's trending in the right direction, something like that. So we really said, how do we do that? Well, one of the big challenges to accomplishing that is privacy. It's all private. Everybody wants it to be private. I don't want to share too much about who I know, what I know, and how I use that to be my differentiator. That's how I've spent my career building those contacts, building that information about those contacts. I know what type of bourbon particular person drinks. I know what kind of restaurant they particularly like. That's currency for me that I don't want to give up. Well, and that's okay because we've created opportunities to shelter that data at the individual level, but provide a collective value in getting the information out to people that know which brokers within the company to connect. The power of the collective team without risk of revealing the secret formula, if you will. So time, me enter data, no thanks. I don't have time for that. Well, we recognize that's a challenge, and it's not because anybody doesn't want to, it's because literally there's only so much time in the day. We've kind of challenged ourselves to come up with a better answer to that. Access. I like to use I'm all thumbs. It's got to be on my mobile. I got to be able to access it with my thumbs. I don't want to be on a keyboard typing in information. So here, just a quick view of some of the screens from a portion of our application. We actually have a collection in our application that is more than just mobile capability. It's more than just those connections. We have brokerage-centric dashboards showing commissions, off the tops, off the bottoms, rebates. Each broker gets their own Power BI dashboard to really get them a view into how they manage their own business for themselves personally, really valuable for them. Property management database. System link.
Kurt, we lost your audio again. Kurt still can't hear you. Okay, it looks like Kurt's gonna have to join us in again. I will say, by the way, from everybody, well, this is a creative platform. One of the technological challenges that I have seen so far, and I'm enjoying it, is it is a bit of a memory hog, which if you've got some other applications open is causing a couple of these hiccups. So I will suggest to anybody watching through the app versus the stream, if you shut down as many other apps as possible, that'll help with the user experience and avoid some of these other challenges. I see Kurt is back in the house, so he'll be up on stage joining us again and finish up his presentation within just a few minutes.
Thanks, Sandy.
You didn't know you were going to get this much exercise, did you?
I know, I'm wearing my fingers out.
Running up and back and forth on stage.
At least I can teleport from the main room to, or from the entrance to here. That's not so bad. As I was saying, so it's really a traditional CRM in terms of real estate, but it ultimately, we deal data. So we're not dependent upon people entering in information. They have to contribute to, it helps create an opportunity so that when a broker wants to know who else in the company has done a deal with a certain company, they can look that company up, see all the brokers that have done deals with them, see the types of deals that they've done, and where those deals have been done. So it really helps tie the company together instead of sending out that email that says, has anyone done business with KBS? Well, probably sure. Most large brokerage houses have done some deal with KBS. Being able to look on a mobile app to see who that actually was, what kind of deal it was, is it relevant to what I'm trying to accomplish? Does that make sense? I think that's really the key. And that's something that that's kind of the key of what we've tried to do to make a CRM for commercial real estate that doesn't face the same challenges in adoption that most of them do. So we're going to be in Exhibit Hall B. We have a booth up there. So if you want to see more specifics about the product, please join us later. Thanks, Andy.
Hey, Kurt, do you want to share your contact information?
Of course, yeah. So our website is Dynamica Labs. That's my development partnership. Ultimately, I should have my phone number up on the last slide, but I don't. But you can certainly find me on LinkedIn. Kurt Emshausen, I'm former Chief Administrative Officer of Transwestern Commercial Real Estate and Cassidy Turley prior to the Cushman buyout. So, and like I said, we'll be in Exhibit Hall B if you've got any questions or you want to see the product up close.
Great. Thank you very much, Kurt. Next up is going to be Jessica Rosner from Dwelling.
It's like a keynote stage.
Okay, can everybody see my screen?
We can, Jessica.
And you see the PowerPoint?
Yes, we can.
Amazing, thank you. So hello, my name is Jessica Rosner. I am the founder of Dwelling Technology. Dwelling is an app built specifically for subleasing. So just to give you a little background about myself, I'm currently a student at Columbia Business School. Before Columbia, I owned a furniture store. We did everything from furniture to home renovation to building and so forth. Currently at Columbia, I am the president of the Real Estate Association. So it's very nice to meet everybody. So just to give you a brief agenda of what I'm going to be going through today, first I'll talk about the challenge that we're facing in New York City currently with real estate, what our approach is to fix that, what the product of Dwelling is, the mobile application, and then the conclusion, of course. So first we have the challenge. As everybody knows, there is a lot of uncertainty currently going on, and the vacancy rates in New York City are skyrocketing. People are not sure what they want to do, where they're going to be living, working. Everything is virtual, and so there's a lot of indecision about renewing leases or not. Even before COVID, subletting was a huge issue, right? There's no real platform for subletting. It's really hard to find someone to sublet. It's hard to know if you can trust the person, if the place you're looking for is what you think it's going to be, if the person is going to pay you rent. These are all real issues. People don't know if they're allowed to sublet in their building. Just to give you an example, in New York State, anybody is allowed to sublet with a total of 10% more than their rental. The building obviously has to give them permission, but they are legally allowed to sublet. So just to talk more about our world in limbo currently, people are unemployed, different industries are changing, people have had to pivot. There's a huge fear of commitment. People aren't really sure what's going to happen, if the vaccine is going to work, even with these great approval numbers. There's a very high vacancy rate in New York City. As of October, it was 6.14%, where last year it was around 2%. And working from home basically means people can work from anywhere, and typically they don't want to pay high rents in New York City for smaller space. So how do we combat uncertainty? The way we do this is with trust. So Dwelling is a mobile application built specifically for subleasing to make the process very easy and to curate trust. It's a platform specifically for medium-term rentals. It will connect users based on their social or extended social networks, so they will know if they have a social connection. It handles the entire process from start to finish, whether that is communicating with renters in your building, communicating with a builder on behalf of a renter, handling all the paperwork, accepting payment. I mean, if they need renter's insurance, pretty much anything you need, Dwelling can take care of it. And we also bring in sort of this gamify aspect to meet the needs of millennials and what we're used to. So as everybody knows, I'm sure, dating apps have become a very big thing here in the last couple of years. So subletting is kind of like dating. And it's especially like dating with commitment issues. So just to give you some background, on a dating app, you never know what you're going to get. Sometimes people's photos aren't what they are, or they're really old. People say the best way to meet somebody is through dating a mutual friend, so you know their background. And sometimes you only want to commit through the cuffing season, which if you were like me, I did not know what that meant, but it basically means people like to couple up together when they are going through winter months. And it's very similar where people like to travel during the holidays, during the cold season. So Dwelling is essentially the hinge of subleasing, where we will connect you within your social and extended networks to find somebody to sublet your apartment. So let's talk about the product. I had seen earlier some people were having issues with their demo, so I uploaded some pictures, but I am also going to try to walk through the demo as well. But here are just some screenshots of the app, so you can list your property, search for properties. It will let you know if you're connected through your Facebook friend, or if you guys went to school together or work together. It gives you all of the details about the property. You can search by map and create a profile for yourself. So let me just switch here. Okay, can everyone see the app now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So what makes Dwelling so unique is that unlike other apps, you really need to search for properties, but before you can do that, you have to enter in all your information. With Dwelling, you don't have to do that. So you can just be looking, and it will bring you to different properties that are available. You can list your dwelling, or you can enter in all the information here. If you want to search by location or by a room or size of apartment, you can do that. I'll just quickly go back here to sort of walk through some of the other slides. So the way that you would connect, you can connect with Facebook or other social applications. Currently, we have Facebook on there for the MVP. So there's a description of the property, of course. These are really basic things. But what we do differently is we'll connect with your cell phone so that you can text directly from your phone instead of having to sign on to the app. So if you want to text another user, you can. If you want to talk to a dwelling representative, you can. We try to make everything as flawless and seamless as possible. Similarly, with the dates that you need, this is, searching by a map, like what I had shown before. This is the text notification. And so here's how you can, have in-app messaging or chat directly with a dwelling representative. Again, our whole premise is to make subletting as easy and seamless as possible, create trust in the subletting process, give people a service in which they can sort of combat those feelings of uncertainty by knowing that if they do have to leave or if they want to go somewhere for a few months, they certainly can do that and have the option of subletting their place. So these are just different things. You can save your favorites. You have a list of your properties, bookings, you have notifications if you want to write to dwelling or have a profile. Here is an example of what the profile looks like if you want to enter in your information. I think I had shown you guys this slide earlier. So here you can book. We use Stripe for our booking application. And you can cancel. As a building manager, there is the option to upload bulk listings or connect with your building renters and have it on their on the building website and platform to offer this service. It is a free service. In fact, dwelling does not charge anything for the service. What we charge for are upcharges. So just to switch back to this slide, so this is really what I had just gone through in terms of social integration, in-app messaging, partner opportunities. And I was able to sort of show you this through the simulation. So I will just move beyond this to be cognizant of everybody's time. But the way that dwelling works is we partner with buildings where people can list their buildings as an option for renters to have a sub-rental option. Everything is free to list, to view, and to message. The way that we charge for any type of fee is through up charges for service. So if people want us to handle the lease documentation, we'll do that. If they want to verify the users or get background checks, we can. If they need renter's insurance, furniture rental, in-app payments, whatever it is. So in conclusion, if you're interested in learning more about dwelling or hearing more about it, I would be very happy to walk through a demo again and give you all information. I am Jessica Rosner, and I'm hoping that through this application, we can kind of get people back into their apartments in New York City and get the rental market flourishing again. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jessica. Great job. I will tell you, anyone who lives in New York knows online dating is pretty scary these days. So good analogy.
Yeah.
So next up on stage is Joe Benzivi from Vero.
Hi, everybody. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here today. Thank you all for attending. I'm Joe, the co-founder of Vero, a screening and leasing platform built for the real estate community. I wanted to jump in and let you know about our product, which is available now. It's a new residential platform that makes leasing seamless and delightful. Like many of you that have ever either been a renter or have just been agents in the real estate business, you know that the process is pretty antiquated. There's a lot of paperwork that goes back and forth, tons of emails, dozens, sometimes even more. And the application process itself takes many days, and it shouldn't be that way. And so part of the reasoning and founding for a company is to make application processing instant. So Vero is currently live in approximately 1,000 agents' hands across many different companies. And we also have a small landlord feature where agents can invite the landlords they work with to use the product. So we've built our product to be compliant with all consumer protection laws, including the state-by-state laws that essentially speak to the level of disclosure, the limiting of fees or capping of fees, as well as providing renters a copy of their own screening report. It is also digitally native. It's the fastest and safest way to apply because we secure our platform with at least a SOC 2 compliance level, which is essentially what credit card processors abide by. So we keep all data encrypted. There's a higher application conversion rate as a result. It's a very digitally quick experience. The application process is about 3 minutes. This data we surface is very deep. It provides you with a really expansive and transparent view of all the participants and applicants in the deal, along with any guarantors. They have a really deep and more qualified pool of prospective renters as a result. You know them really well. And you can present these approval-ready applicants and clinch the deal significantly faster than anyone else that's still kind of shuffling PDF documents and trying to submit them to the owner or operator. As a result, the owner is making a better leasing decision that gets you paid, so you can generate more revenue. So again, to recap, the process is entirely digital. It's a native leasing tool for brokers and agents. It means you can use it on the go. You can use it from an iPad. You can use it from a desktop. You can actually see snapshots of the product here on the left. We provide instant screening of applicants, including employment, income, and asset verification. Really, it's an incredible feature. So typically to confirm employment, you have to call the employer, which is close to impossible these days because most human resource departments are not available to pick up the phone. And so getting a written confirmation of employment just takes days. And if you're using any third-party service, they're still relying on actually the word of the applicant of who their employer is. And you often, that's really prone to fraud. You often see that. So what we do, we instantly verify that they're employed, saving you at least 4 to 5 days from that approval process. We also collect all fees and documents. You can do so while on the go, whether it's an application fee, of course, capped at $20 here in New York. So we act as the payment gateway for that. You can also collect security deposits, our first month's rent, or any form of deposit for the apartment. You can share all the applicant data with an owner that you can have actually participate on your account on Vero, as well as any like leasing teams or property managers, and you can do so instantly. So the minute the application is complete, you can share it right away. And we also provide a pretty expansive deal room to track the status of all of your deals. So here's the experience for the renter. I'm also going to show you a live version in just a second. It's just 4 steps. You invite a renter to apply, they sign in, they apply instantly. They can invite any roommates or guarantors that they work with. The verification process takes just a couple of seconds on each applicant once they've selected the submit button. They're able to see their own report and upload any additional documents or edit their application after the fact if you need them to. And a new feature we have coming down the pike is also you'll be able to generate leases for that, templatized leases that they'll be able to sign from anywhere. You have flexible preferences and settings and permissions, so you can decide who has access to your account. You can decide if, for example, you represent a small landlord that has one workflow in one building and another workflow in another building, you can have different length applications. We provide instant identity, employment, and income and asset verification, all the credit files, alternative data sets, criminal OFAC and sex offender status, again, all instantly. And you're able to instantly approve or conditionally approve applicants or even decline them and have pre-built language and disclaimers attached to each. And as I mentioned, a new feature is lease generation. You'd be able to generate leases right within the product. We built an amazing lease builder wizard, whether you're using RSA leases or whether you're using REBNY leases, which are predominantly the most popular ones on our platform, or whether you're using Bloomberg leases, or even have your own custom leases and riders. We digitize all of them within days of you onboarding onto the platform, and you're able to process these pretty seamlessly right on the platform. Wanted to share this case study of a broker and a developer that had partnered up and were using our platform actually down in Florida. And a key item to mention is that their increased application conversion, significantly more people applied because it was instant. It was so easy versus going back into their emails or folders and then collecting 6 to 7 pieces of documents that take days to do so. And on average, we saved them 1 week of vacancy, which is about $1,400. And the agents got paid more quickly as a result. This is just a sampling of some of the companies that use us. All of Bold, New York, teams at Compass, teams at Element, all of Choice, New York, 2 offices of Sotheby's in Brooklyn, all of Elegrin, all of M&S, all of Dynamic, all of Platinum, and a new firm in Chicago, the brokerage firm that just started using our product. But as I mentioned, we have thousands of agents that are currently using us. Adoption is incredibly high. Once folks start using our product, they never leave, and the retention is also very high. And one thing to mention, our screening is always 100% free for brokers and salespeople, meaning this platform is available to you at no cost and will never cost you anything.
Joe,
Yes.
sorry to interrupt. Your PowerPoint deck is getting cut off. If you look at the screen, it's kind of large, so you can't, so people can't see everything that you want them to see. So I just want to.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. I just want to let you know.
Is it looking better now?
It's being cut off to the right. We can see kind of the left preview. Yep, keep going a little bit more, and then up a little bit more. So, okay, so we can see the deck. Yeah, or maybe you just need to minimize it a little bit. So if you go to the top screen zoom icon bar and you go to the far right, you see main stage or podium, you can actually see what each of us are seeing on your screen. So it's still cut off, so I wanted to make sure everybody can see your presentation deck.
Sure, I appreciate
It just
that.
needs to come down on the page. If you can drag it down closer to the toolbar on the bottom.
Okay.
There you go. Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for letting me know. I would have been stuck in this thinking, how come no one was so excited about this as I am? All right, so let me do a quick redo here, and then I'll jump into the actual screen demo. So this is the dashboard that you would see as the operator of the account. You're able to edit the type of application, and if you're actually not interested in having the instant income and asset verification, you can eliminate it. You can set different document criteria if you still want to collect physical documents. Although the product is designed to operate instantly and seamlessly, you can still request that renters or applicants and guarantors upload additional documents. And you can generate a different workflow depending on the building you're working with. So you might be working with, an owner operator that's a small, 50-unit owner that doesn't have, any other tools for screening. So they rely on you exclusively, and so they expect you to essentially do all of this for them. Or you might work with a really large owner operator that says, you know what, I need a credit report. I'll do all the other screening myself. So you can have different workflows depending on the building that you're screening the applicant for. And all the data is instant. Our partner on the data side is TransUnion, and our partner on the asset verification side is Visa, actually. We're the only partner currently Visa has in the real estate community with a live product designed to automate the income and asset verification for applicants. We're very, very proud of that. I'm going to slide further down. So as I mentioned earlier, one of the newer leasing features is the lease generator. It's a smart e-lease generator that you can have unlimited templates and unlimited documents and unlimited writers in. And the signature process is entirely legal in all 50 states. We provide a nice cover page and an indicia signature page at the very end. And this packet is, legally admissible anywhere. So any owner and operator that you present the report to or subsequent the lease that's been generated to can have trust in that data. Here is the case study I was mentioning earlier. I'll just make it brief, but the main point is that they're able to save at least 1 week of vacancy. So you can do a deal significantly faster, literally a week faster, but also as an agent battling against the clock and battling against other deals, you want to get the most kind of qualified application that has all the deal points that are required to get approved in front of the decision maker as quickly as possible. And our product does that. These are just some of the companies that utilize our product. And as I mentioned before, as a big supporter of the New York City real estate community, having been a REBNY member myself for over 20 years, we decided to make this product free. It's 100% free on the screening side, so you could use our screening tool at no cost to you. The applicants only pay $20. And I'd love to show you what that renter experience actually looks like within the product. Once you invite a renter, they're brought into this, digital workflow that's native to all mobile devices. They don't need to download an app. They simply log in, and then they answer a couple of quick questions, such as their legal name, date of birth, and telephone number. So that's step one. They then identify whether they're the applicant, guarantor, or occupant for that unit, and they can confirm who they are. We show them all the deal participants so they can confirm they're in the right deal. They could also add additional applicants, guarantors, or occupants. And depending on how this is set up, the occupant, if they're under 18, for example, will not be screened if that's one of your preferences. Okay. I just need to pull the screen up so I can see that last button there. There you go. So you can see here the application information. Maybe I can do this, or we'll zoom out. Okay, I'm just trying to make sure the screen is still visible here. You may not see the entire panel on the left, but there are 6 sets of questions, including their residential history, their landlord contact information, employment history, and you could add also, an item where you're unemployed, haven't started yet, I'm a student. You can add a previous employment as well, and courtesy questions, which are customizable, including do you have pets, the breed, the weight, the age, whether they've been spayed or neutered. And it's a smart application. So if you do upload this, if a renter does answer that they have pets, they can add a photo of their pet at the end of the application. This is where they pay for the application. The screening fee, again, is $20. It's not $35. It's $35 outside of New York. And now it's time for them to actually verify their income and assets. It's an instant process. You just choose the bank you bank with, and they allow Vero to read the digital version of the bank statement of that applicant. And when we read the digital bank statement, we instantly verify the person's income. We verify that that employer has still been paying them as of the last payment date. It literally removes the need to look at bank statements, which, by the way, is very insecure to send over email or to keep as a PDF on file. We actually read the digital version of the bank statement and encrypt the data and only surface it on this report here. And the renter or applicant or guarantor that answer these questions can add additional bank accounts if they're not 100% verified. One of the key elements of this and why it's incredibly easy as a renter to use it is when you've reached the qualification requirements. So I can continue to add additional sources of income if I have multiple jobs or multiple income streams, in addition to adding more assets to make myself more qualified for the unit. And as you could see, this took me under 2 minutes to complete. The next phase is for me to actually provide my social. So I'm going to do that and actually verify my identity by answering these questions here that only I would know. And the incredible effect here is that the same person that you've invited has just had their identity verified, their income and asset and employment record verified, their criminal background verified in under 3 minutes. The aspect of waiting a week to get a deal approved, and it's just kind of incredibly antiquated, and that's what we're looking to innovate. The applicant is seeing their report as well, so you comply with the Housing Stability and Tenant Protection Act of 2019, providing a copy back to the applicant without them needing to contact you at all. It's all seamless. And here at the last phase, they can upload any additional documents, and then they're done. And if there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
If you have any questions, please enter them into the public chat. If not, Joe, thank you. It looks great. And then next up, we've got Pritesh Damani from Realty Crunch.
Awesome. Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Awesome.
And a nice little dance move, Joe.
I'll get off the stage now.
Yep. And Pritesh, you're going to need to be on the stage to take control.
Yes, sir.
Great, thank you.
Okay, let's see if I can get this in the center.
Yeah, you should be able to screen zoom, and then you should be able to take control and share your screen.
Awesome. Do you guys see my screen?
Um,
Share your desktop. Okay.
Not yet. Hold on a sec. We're still seeing Joe's screen. So hold on just one sec.
Sandy, you may be better off taking over control and then giving it back.
Okay. Let me do that. Okay. All right. Pritesh, why don't you try and take control now
Awesome.
and share your screen again.
Amazing. Let me know if you guys can see it. It just show like a house icon.
I do. We see it. We see the PowerPoint.
Awesome.
Yep. Great.
All
Thank
right. Thank you everyone for the opportunity. My name is Pritesh Damani, and I am the founder and the CEO for Realty Crunch. We are a New York City based company, so we are very proud and honored to be here. Again, a little bit of a background. I'm a technology entrepreneur, and I am not a broker and not an agent. I've learned a lot in the last 2.5 years since we've started the company. And the company started with my personal pain point of being able to just buy or rent a property in a very simple and effective manner. And from my perspective, it was always about, it starts with discovery, looking at and finding the perfect platform, perfect house or perfect apartment for rental across different .coms, so whether it's StreetEasy or whether it's Corcoran.com or Element.com or whether it's apartments.com, and keeping up with all the conversations, talking to all my roommates and figuring out, who's interested in which property, rating them, commenting on them, keeping up with them, all of that stuff. So basically, not only discovering the apartment that you're looking for, but also then communicating and collaborating over it. Combine that now on the flip on the other side, where the agent is helping you or the building leasing agent is helping you find or organize your search in that building or like a suite of buildings they have. How do you keep up with all the conversations that are happening across the board? So we came up with a platform. So this is typically what the space looks like, right? Like it's complicated. There are numerous .coms out there where you can find apartments that are for buy or for rental. There are numerous technologies out there that will let you sign a bunch of documents. There are numerous technologies out there, including email, texting, Excel sheets, Dropbox for file sharing and all of that stuff that exists. And of course, there are numerous CRM technologies out there. So what we set out to do was to cobble up something together that is the perfect collaboration tool to not only discover the property you want to rent or buy, but then go ahead and actually transact on the platform, right? With that, I think it's easier to show than to, talk about it. So let's go and look at what it looks like. So I am a client. I am the leasing agent, and I'm looking at a client named Pritesh. Just to confirm, you guys are seeing a screen with a bunch of properties on it, like a bunch of boxes, grid of screen.
It looks like 8 different units.
Perfect. Yeah. So conceptually, what you're really doing is I am the agent, and I have put together what we call a wall of properties for my prospective tenants or renters, right? It could be a group of people, roommates, or it could be a husband, wife, or a family renting. You simply add all of the people who are interested in this search in here, and now all of them can see these properties. Now these properties come from all sorts of different places. They don't have to come from one place. That's the best part is, and I'll show you how that's done. But when you click on it, you can quickly see, this is a bad example because it's for sale, but it works for rental as well. You can quickly see that, and you can quickly comment saying, this looks interesting. Let's go look at it. So what I've effectively done is I have blasted a message out. We have an app, so you get a push notification immediately. So the agent, that is me, gets a push notification saying my tenant is interested in looking at it. I can tag this property as shortlisted. And now my roommates also get this notification. Everybody's on the same page. We can, of course, quickly communicate with each other. Let's let's meet at 3 p.m. Downtown. Boom. Now again, the concept of texting and emailing immediately just goes away. I can share files, floor plans, pictures, whatever I need, just drag and drop them here. That's stage one. So before I move on to stage two, which is how do you transact on the platform, let's quickly answer one key answer, which is how do I add properties? So if I'm on Street Easy, which is a New York City, specific one, the VR extension, you click this one simple button, and I'm an agent. Remember, I'm working with many tenants right now. I found something interesting. I want to send it to Pritesh. I just click one button and it's sent. Immediately, Pritesh gets a push notification saying, hey, this just got on the market for rental. Let's jump on it. Now, the idea being that I'm now no longer required to stick them to a one particular .com, whether it's Element doing their own leasing, whether it's Corcoran doing their own leasing, or whether it's Elegran doing their own set of agents, 120 agents working together as a team or independently. They can all collaborate on one single platform. Step two towards a standard procedure for a brokerage or a leasing office is a bunch of disclosures and forms need to be signed. And this is like where we take our platform to the next level, where I can simply click on one button saying send forms, and I can literally pick all the forms, including the recent COVID forms that REBNY partnered with us on, and I can talk about it this a little bit detail. I'm going to send quickly 2 forms for signing, and look at how easy this is. I'm going to pick this form, and I'm going to pick the New York State anti-discrimination form, which is a required form for brokerages and leasing offices to send out. I pick the client I want to send to. Next, recipient, next. These are all optional fields. I'm going to skip them. Next, and hit send. Now, we built our own document signing platform from scratch, which is SOC 2 compliant, CCPA compliant, and New York Shield compliant. Our documents can be held in, and accountable in court, and it's signed digitally, and all the laws are maintained. And it's a very simple way for someone to get the document, and then as soon as they get it, they would be able to literally sign it on their phone. They don't even have to, creating accounts and all that stuff is super, super optional, but it's all part of the platform. So we started by looking at a property on different .coms, putting them together on a wall is what we call it, right? So if I go to the wall again, I can look at all the properties I put together, communicated about those properties. We shortly listed a property. We signed a bunch of forms. So I'm, again, an agent. I can see all the forms that I have sent to people. I can see which ones are signed, which are not signed. I can send people reminders. We've made it super, super easy. And then, of course, you have audit capabilities across the board. Every little thing that happens on this platform is completely audited. Even if your client looks at a form, they sign a form, they created a form, they comment there somewhere, everything is audited, and which helps you being more and more further compliant across the board. And now the customer is ready to transact. And you say, okay, if you're ready to transact, let's start a new transaction. And this brings you into the third phase of the product, which is my client is renting, and I'm going to say downtown rental. And again, this is a completely customizable process. We have an example process that we put together on learn the whole process. What can you afford? Different kind of documentation you have to provide while you're going through this thing. Sorry, I'm having an internet issue here. We have a very detailed checklist of 2 pay stubs, all the documents that you need. They are dragged and drop in here. And again, completely encrypted at store, at transit, completely compliant to all the legal regulations necessary. And you can assign this to people and who's going to take care of it, whether the husband is taking care of it, the wife is taking care of it, or the roommates are taking care of it. In progress, the due date for this documentation is on the 18th. So there's complete project management built into this thing. We're working with basically all the brokerages in the city, Element, Corcoran, Compass, Brown High Stevens, Halstead, Elegran, Bohemia, pretty much everybody in the city is working with us. And we are helping them through the document signing process. We're helping them through the discovery process to get all their agents together, communicate, and talk to each other and bring everything into one seamless experience. Our goal is to make this process extremely simple. And the last thing I will show you is these templates are completely customizable. So here's an example of something I just put together really quickly: a rental application and a board package. It's a simple checklist of things. You can add your own steps. Let's just say REBNY demo step, just to show you how instant it is. And inside that step, I would add a checklist item saying manager approval. That's it. And then when I'm ready as an agent to sign a new transaction, all I have to do is go to my client is renting, Eligran. It shows up because it knows that it's a rental template, and only Eligran, for example, would have access to this template, and say downtown rental 2. And immediately when I go to downtown rental 2, you're going to see the REBNY demo step, and I go through this thing, manager approval. It's all available immediately and instantaneously. So again, our goal is to start from discovery, which is I think one of the most painful process. And it's kind of funny how my previous demo, like the previous companies that demo, do bits and pieces of this thing. So I saw the dating app, the dating correlated app which was very well done, by the way, congrats. That's, something that we do in a different way, but here's a collaboration on how it's done. And then after that, we walk you through document signing and transaction management on our platform. It's all holistic and it's all one single place. Going back to my presentation, just summarizing it, it's a collaboration platform. So you find your possible homes to rent or buy, bookmark them in one single place, and collaborate with your leasing agent, with your building owner, and your roommates all in one place. And then transaction platform, where you have step-by-step walkthrough of the transaction, and document signing platform. Talking about traction, what we have had so far in New York City. We partnered with Real Estate Board of New York. We're very happy about that. And we offered all agents across New York City a document signing platform. And to date, we have more than 2,000 agents already signed up. It is really difficult times. So we expect, what we know is people who have business have already signed up, but we expect literally every agent in the city to sign up, because our document signing solution is literally the most easiest platform you can find anywhere, I think, because it's literally point and click. So we get fan mails on a daily basis, and we're very proud of that. We are working with all major brokerages, like I mentioned before: BHS, Halstead, Corcoran, Compass. Anybody, literally anybody in the city is using us at the moment. So we are very, very happy about that. We continue to be very New York City focused, and we continue to be very REBNY friendly. You can execute REBNY leases on our platform. You can execute the other writers that you need, New York State documents. All of that stuff is part of the platform. That's our short and sweet demo. Any questions?
Great, thank you, Pritesh. The product looks really great. I want to try and keep us on schedule. So thank you very much. So next up is Nicholas Pallins from Stacks, who's going to join us on stage.
Hi, everybody. I'm just going to get this set up real quick. Good afternoon. I'm actually going to link through Zoom, so just give me 1 second. Sandy, can you see that? Is it
Yeah, hold on a second. I'm going to try and.
Oh, it may be that I have to hold on 1 sec.
Yep, no, hold on 1
You just
second.
have to close purple and you'll be all good.
Close purple, right?
Mute it. Don't close it. Not mute it.
Okay. All right. So are you able to see my screen so far?
Just give me 1 second. Now try sharing your screen. I had to take control to release it.
Oh, I see.
So you should be good to go now.
Try again. And I'll just minimize this, and that ought to do it.
Great.
So are you able to see what looks like?
Yep.
Okay, great.
Couple of circle charts. So we're looking good.
Okay, perfect. So good afternoon, everybody. I'm really excited to be here. I'm the founder and CEO of Stack. I'm also a 15-year real estate agent and executive in New York City. So still an active broker. And I basically built this based on my own domain expertise as an agent, and also out of frustration, because what I really wanted was, before there was work from home, I was trying to figure out how I could work from anywhere. So that's sort of the guiding light, the North Star for this app, is just to be able to manage your business on the run wherever you happen to be. So at a quick overview, I'll just going to come back to this website. This is stacksrealestate.com if you're following along at home. So what does Stacks do? So Stacks helps agents close more deals with goal setting, performance tracking, CRM, open house, sign-in, automated communications, and shareable calculators for mortgage closing costs and ROI. Couple of places where we really fit into, I think, the problem set for this exercise is in performance. We're all about agent brokerage performance. We've been likened to the Fitbit for real estate agents in a feature in Inman's Favorite Tech in 2019. Another place where we fit into this problem set, I believe, is in communication with buyers and sellers, which is incredibly important these days with COVID. And also just sort of the application process. You'll see in a couple of seconds how we sort of fall into the overarching theme of this challenge, which is just getting people back into buildings. And based on my experience as an agent, I think more so than get people back into buildings, it's incredibly important. And how do agents be mindful of the process so that they're keeping tenants in buildings? It's a lot like any business practice. It's a lot cheaper to keep people than go out and find a new tenant or a new client or user for the tech space, et cetera. So I'm just going to show you a couple of quick links. Getting started with Stacks is extremely easy. The first step is basically to go to the App Store and just download the app. It's going to ask you just two simple questions when you get started. And number one is, what is your net income goal for the current year? And then also, what is your company split? So I'll get into that a little bit later. I'm just going to focus on the app for now. And also, just as a heads up, if you do go to the website, we made it extremely easy for people to upload their content. So, one of the things I think is a very important fact in terms of building tech within the real estate industry and having worked at, say, Brown Harris and Douglas Elliman, is you really want to think about your user. 65% of agents across the entire United States are a 55-year-old woman. So, building tech with that in mind is extremely important. So what we've done is we've just mimicked the onboarding process to something that everybody knows, which is like MailChimp or Contact. And the way that you do that is just by clicking login on the website after you've downloaded it on the App Store. And then again, it's going to be exactly the same as like MailChimp. You just upload a CSV or an Excel file. So great. So just moving into the app now, I'm going to give you a couple of high-level views of the main tabs in the app, and then happy to answer any questions. So this is sort of your main dashboard. And again, it's all mobile focused. The idea is to be outside of the office because the clients aren't in the office. They're outside. They're at a coffee shop or they're at a volunteering event. So now you have it in your hand. Quick view of this is now that you've put in your agent split, which by the way, the agent split can accommodate anything from like a traditional New York City brokerage house where you might have like 5 or 6 levels of hurdle commissions up to say like an EXP or a Keller Williams that's set up more on a cap structure basis. Or if you happen to own your own brokerage, as I do, you could just have a fixed agent split. So for this example, this example user, we're just going to assume that they had a goal of making $1 million net per year, and that they're at a fixed percentage of 100%. So that clocks out at about $40 million in sales volume, which is their goal. So you can see this person is about 26% on the way to their goal. Here's the 40 million. And myself, what I'm always thinking about as an agent is, where am I currently, where am I going, and how do I get there? So for this example, this user has sold $10 million so far. and they've got roughly $30 million to go on a sales basis. So if you were to click on this tab, on the speedometer, sorry, you'll see it changes from sales over to gross commission, then over to net commission. So you can constantly be aware of where you are and where you're going. If you go down here, we've got just some sort of high level statistics. We'll drill down in a bit, but you can see this user has, if you click on it, you'll see they've got 40% in repeat clients. If you scroll over, you'll see 60% are sellers, 20% are landlords. It's just helpful, as you construct your business or if you transition your business and you want to manage those KPIs, those key performance indicators. You can also see where your business is coming from so that you can double down and get more of it. So this user is 40% in the West Village, 20% Upper West Side, number of deals, so on and so forth. And then I'm going to show you a couple of things really quick before we leave the screen is, a large part of this too is forecasting. So, what we found, what I found just being in the industry and also talking to users as they use this is agents tend to be more words people when they're in sales than they are numbers people. So if we can automate the financial forecasting, the tax forecasting, all those types of things and make it completely foolproof, we believe that by showing them these key performance indicators, we can make them just better business operators in general, which in turn will make them top performing agents. So in order to do that, just on a high level view, click status. You can check, if you want to forecast what I've closed so far, but then also take into account deals that are in contract, or just say deals that are in contract and that are accepted. You can do any sort of combination. It'll update that screen right away. So I'm going to move in just at a deeper dive here. What we've done is we've thought about how the Wall Street Journal rankings come through and the Real Trends rankings come through every year. And we want to put those, we want people to be cognizant of those metrics so that they can make that list and rank high on it. So what you have here is every year that the agent's been in the business, it's super low friction. If you want to add another year, you don't have to go back in and update the entire spreadsheet or add all these new users. You could just simply with a click, like let's say if you wanted to add 2013, you're just thinking about like what your net commission was that year. Then it'll take into account and you can get a total career view. So just looking at this list real quick and harkening back to the Wall Street Journal, I mean, the high level statistics that I showed you on the main performance page are all here. So you're thinking about your goals, but you're also thinking about, the number of sales rentals, but also number of deal sides, which you're probably all familiar with, the agents in the audience or the managers are all familiar with. This is really just designed. I mean, I've had coaches that cost tens of thousands of dollars a year, incredible managers. I've been a manager myself. This is just designed to be a proactive tool that you can collaborate with agents, can collaborate with their managers, managers can collaborate with the brokerage owners, and they can see top down how their agents are doing, how their offices are doing, so on and so forth. Same thing with coaches. I used to waste a lot of time on coaching calls, just updating spreadsheets. And here, if my coach could just pop in, they could see before we even get on the call and see where I'm at. Other things to make people better business people is, what's your pitch success rate? How profitable are you? Are you growing year over year? Are you tracking to your monthly pace? That again is all set out with those first two things you enter when you start the app. Every other profession, if you're an attorney, you're thinking about what you bill on an hourly rate. So keeping that in mind on a yearly basis, I think is extremely important. So you can double down on where your time is best spent and cut bait where it's not. Same thing with expenses and taxes. This is all just aggregate, but you'll see on a per deal basis. I'll show you that in a second. Average, median, sale, and rental. Pricing accuracy is something I use in listing presentations all the time. It's just a way to communicate confidence in a listing presentation. I could say to a seller while I'm right there, I could say, this is the price I'm giving, and you could be confident in that price because over the life of my career, I sell to 97% of what I initially list the property at. You can track that with buyers too to see how close you are to their initial budgets. Average days on market. If you're building your referral income, it's extremely important, especially in this market as everybody's moving around. You can keep track of inbound, outbound, what you're paying your company, and also how many hours you're working. So I'm just going to move over to the clients tab. This is essentially your sphere of influence. I used a ton of CRMs. I just wanted a really mobile, minimal, clean version, just the basics that I needed. I'm going to show you really quick what this is here. So basically, you have the name of the person, the property they're associated with, the price, and then what they're worth as far as net income if you were to close the deal. If you see a flame, that just means they're hot. You know, just a lot of these things are from simple practices that I picked up along the way, but this is just an idea from one of Barbara Corcoran's books that was incredible. She had the A, B's, and C's, and you throw away the C's and you double down on the A's. So that's just hot, warm, and cold. If you see two checks, in New York City, we call these direct deals. You're representing both sides. The rest of the country is calling them double ending deals. Either way, but just to you can sort by a million different ways here: years, hot clients, cold clients, what's closed, sellers, etc. A number of other things here too. The app will default to highest commission, but regardless, this is just basically like we were talking about before. If you're thinking I sold 10 so far and I need 30 to hit my $40 million goal, where's that going to come from? So you can come over here to and click on any combination of these radio buttons to try to find your your $30 million to hit your goal. So here it'll aggregate everything, just like you might do like Control A in an Excel file if you were chained to a desk. And here you can see it'll make up the rest of that income. So I'm just going to X out of that, and I'm going to give you a quick view of what's behind each and every person here. Hold on one sec. Let me just find. Okay. Give me one sec, actually. Something we recently added based on feedback for people that are playing a little bit more of a volume game. And they wanted to be able to sort by in the initial screen based on the date that they were supposed to follow up, so they could just go through and kind of robocall a little bit. Maybe not as much of a New York City thing, but incredibly important in the rest of the country. So, okay, so you've got just an abundance of data here about the deal and about the client. You can call and email from directly within. This is where your follow-up is. It'll send a reminder, your client type, status, Barbara Corcoran thing I just mentioned, hot, warm, and cold. This is where it's going to track your price accuracy. So let's just say I'm going to put in 7 million here. You've got everything you would need about the deal, the commission. If you had to override it, if it's a co-broke, you can click that. And I'm just going to show you real quickly too here. You've got a place to put referral, your house split. It'll give you your projection, your net income, your expenses on this deal, your tax projections for this deal. So let's say it winds up being a $175,000 commission. It's going to tell you to put $57,000 away so you don't get caught flat-footed with your quarterly estimated payments. I think that's something I've seen a number of times with agents. And another part, just to go back to the problem set for this challenge, is in communication. So there's just a couple of places. I'm going to breeze past a few features just in the interest of time. But for closing date, so a lot of systems will give you an alert based on when you've closed the property. But as an agent, just like in practical terms, it's great to have the alert on the day of, but that's almost too late. What you want is the day of, but also like a week in advance, so that you could plan a dinner with Gary, or you could plan, you could send him something nice, a box of wine or a case of wine or whatever. And so that's all just going to be based off the closing date, neighborhood, lead source, all of that other stuff, a place to put notes. If you want to report a deal to your manager, to your company, you can do that here. I'm going to zoom out real quick and just show you another opportunity we've made for, see where Dwayne here, for sellers.
Hey, Nicholas, this is Sandy.
Yeah.
You're going to have to start wrapping up to keep on time, please.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah,
No, that's okay.
I'll skip ahead. I'm just going to show you really quick another opportunity to communicate with people. We've got shareable calculators. We've got mortgage, cap rate, cash on cash, closing costs. So if you click the button, you can add as many lines as you want here. If you click the button, you can text it, email it, WhatsApp. We've also got open house intake, so you could hand your phone to somebody at an open house. The cool thing about it, though, is that as you're looking through the people that came that day, you can just click Move to Clients. It'll sync over to your Clients tab. Moving forward, you can organize all your vendors here. You can organize all your resources. We've got a ton of things. You can find us at Stacks Real Estate Online. We partnered with continuing education, with Amazon for purchases, all sorts of things, and discounts on continuing ed and certifications. That's kind of the gist of it. I'll let you move on there.
Great, Nicholas. Thank you. Great job. It looks really good. So next up is Habitatum and William McCusker. So come on up and join us on stage.
All right. Good job. 1 second. Sandy, has it been better to upload a file versus share screen, or does it matter?
Either way, sharing a screen is fine. People have done both. It's whatever you're more comfortable with. Sharing a screen is fine. It's one click. If you go to the screen zoom and then you click on the second from the left, oh, there you go. You've already got it.
All right, not bad.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for having us. So I'm going to go on full screen real quick. Is that still working?
We see the PowerPoint deck.
Okay. Let me hold on. I don't know why it's showing the left bar. Well, is it visible enough for the most part? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we can certainly see it. You're good, William.
All right. Thanks. All right, cool. So William McCusker here. I'm the Director of Partnerships for Habitatum. The company was established in 2014, headquartered here in New York City. And we're here today with our location risk score. And that is a financial benchmark for real estate investments and lending. The construction of the score is based on activity, mobile phone activity. I'll go into all this in more detail in a bit. Business density and diversity, and then also the quality of a location's surrounding area. It is a score, so it's a normalized relative score, and you'll see as we go through the examples, we use 1 as the top score and 10 as the weakest. There are 2 main categories of how this location risk score works. There's a local location risk score, which is, you can think of that as a neighborhood score. And there's an accessible score, which is based on areas nearby through catchment area isochrones at different intervals of time, like a 10-minute walk, for example, or 20 minutes by public transit. And it's not just the distance that an area can reach. So it's not all about the transit system per se, but how good of the locations that an area can reach are. And then together we have an overall score, which is the average of those 2 scores. And so the way this is delivered is as a data feed meant to be integrated into a client's existing system. And the real estate metric that we're associating it with is cap rate. We see a pretty strong correlation between low risk, so in the 1s and 2s categories, and a low cap rate, and vice versa. A higher location risk score should be an indicator of a higher cap rate. And this is asset class agnostic. I guess in the case of this PropTech Challenge, we're talking about residential, but in the case of retail and office or hotel, et cetera, the way the methodology is designed is to accommodate different asset classes. So here, this is a table of properties I pulled from active deals on just on LoopNet. But the idea here is that it's massive evaluation. So you could pull in a portfolio of 10,000 properties and get their associated location risk score and the subset within our system. It's not a static tool. We can look back historically and we can track the change to this score over time. So the analysis that our clients tend to do is around deltas. So, in the case of COVID-19, one might evaluate the change from Q2 2020 versus Q2 2019, and the most likely catalyst to that change would be the drop in activity in these areas as a result of disclosure and other things. But this would be a quantifiable way to measure that drop. And then even without pandemic, the trend line that one can see with our location risk score should be a correlation that can be used as part of your cap rate exit estimates and the like. And I speak to cap rate, but this could be connected to in any indicator you're using in the real estate world. This is just the one that we sort of think it's the most relevant towards. Unlike a lot of kind of location intelligence tools that you correlate us with or compare us to, our main goal is to be seen as operational rather than descriptive. So we're not coming and telling you this location has X crime rate and is good in terms of green space and building age and 500 other variables. All of that is all quite useful. Ours is meant to be a single number, just for practical application as a signal, as a multiplier onto your KPIs that you have existing in-house. And it's adaptable for that reason to kind of meet the different regional needs that clients might have. So examples that I'm going to look at, it's all based on your relative score against the rest of the New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania MSA. But scores could easily be based on a comparison to the whole of the United States or just the 5 boroughs. Likewise, these accessible scores in terms of the locations that every location has access to can be broken down by access by car, foot, or public transit. And again, in the cities where perhaps there's not much of a public transit infrastructure or walkability is not a thing, it's just a driving city, those can be turned on or off. And the same thing goes for the time intervals. 10, 20, 30 minutes could easily be 5, 10, 15 or longer, just depending on the regional context. So we bring in a default that we think is widespread and applicable, but allow adjustments based on client needs. And just to show in action in places in New York that people are probably fairly familiar with, just looking at Mott Street and Chinatown, this area is a 2 out of 10, so quite a good score, not the best of the best. And in terms of its access, it's as good as you can get. So it's super connected to the most dense and vibrant business and people areas in the city, and it's near best score. So 1 is the best, 1.1. It's an average of those sub scores you see in the few slides back, and you're seeing here a relatively low cap rate, whereas a higher risk score down in Brighton Beach is composed of a 3 local score and decent walkability to other locations nearby, as it's kind of has its own center in that part of the city with Coney Island and the like. But in terms of accessibility and public transit, of course, it's a bit worse. And correspondingly a higher cap rate. And so these are real examples that I pulled using this tool. Beyond just the score as a connector to cap rate and a way to adjust cap rate, it also can be used as a means to think through reprofiling decisions. And again, in the time of the pandemic, shopping centers are being looked at, and with the lack of traffic, there's been a trend that we're seeing for a redevelopment as a distribution hub or micro logistics. And when an owner of these type of developments or someone who's looking to reprofile, trying to decide between several or what the best candidate might be, a profile like this is an example where you have great auto accessibility, good for the distribution, and poor walkability and public transit. These factors here would be, a good indicator that it's probably not going to do well in a time where everybody's attracted to their local nearby shopping centers as opposed to driving to the enclosed malls. The interface we have developed for this, although not the not the main kind of point of the data feed, we have a geospatial tool for visualizing the data feed in action, and to create that earlier table I was showing, just a drag and drop tool for that. But here you can see the transit map score at 10 minutes in New York. And I guess I need to speak up here. 3 minutes left. And basically all of Brooklyn and Manhattan score quite well. And so the opportunity here is to look at the peripheral areas. So you start to see like Ridgewood, Queens, and other kind of up and coming areas that have a good score. And this might be a good area for investment. In terms of the auto score, I might skip that just for sake of time. And then overall score, the entirety of Manhattan is blue because its overall score is in the kind of 1 to 2 range. But just from a visual vantage point, if I make my max in the gradient scale 1.5, I can then highlight these are the blue areas here are the best of the best in the entire city. So even though there's a sea of blue in Manhattan, if you zone in and kind of specify something you would easily see on a spreadsheet, but to show it visually, you can here show the best areas in Manhattan. Again, this is from aggregated and anonymous data, so it can be updated quite regularly. We look at the world as a series of grid cells. Here on the right, this is a 250-meter breakdown of Miami, I believe. In terms of the business categories, we look at both the density, so the number of businesses, and also the diversity, so the number of categories of businesses. We can also use transactional data and categories of transactions as a proxy for this. Finally, we merge all of the kind of central locations together into clusters to create these data-driven neighborhoods called centralities. For the accessible scores, again, it's based on the isochrones at 10 and 20 and 30-minute intervals, depending on user preference. And then again, finally, back in New York, here's the local map. These are all the ratings. The blue is the best, the red is the worst of areas of Manhattan. Here again, like I was mentioning before, 5 years ago or even 3 years ago, you might not have seen the Ridgewood Queens area scoring quite well, but it's kind of gentrifying. In Atlanta, you can point to 2 hubs of Midtown and Buckhead as your best areas. So if you're an investor unfamiliar with these markets, you can quickly see what the lowest risk areas might be.
William, we're going to need to start wrapping up because we're just about at 3:30.
Yep. I'll 1 minute.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks. So the inspiration for this is, according to Moody's Analytics and according to location, this is the biggest predictor in CRE value. Yet it lacks standardization. So everything I just was talking about is about standardizing location. And why do we do it? Because this can be part of the cap rate calculation, or at least as a means to justify or make an argument against a certain cap rate or for a certain cap rate. So we're part of that risk premium equation. Why now? Risk-free investing is quite vulnerable, and we can see vulnerability this year especially. So this risk premium that we've developed around location risk can help with that for your investments. And just to reiterate, this is a data feed. It's not just the US, not just New York. We can cover this globally, quite data agnostic in that regard, with many partnerships across the world. It's dynamic. We have updates. We could do monthly, quarterly, yearly. Just depends on the need. And it's operational, so it can connect to your model. So that's the story. And thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, William. Looks great.
Thanks.
And then next up is Kaval Shah from Stroom.
Hello, everyone. Gonna share my screen here.
Great. We can already see your screen and your PowerPoint presentation. Great. Thank you.
Excellent. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kaval, and I'm the founder of Stroom. So Stroom is industry's first asset stabilization and revenue management platform for retail, office, and industrial asset classes. I want to start off by sharing a little bit about my background. So I've been in startup space for around 7 years now. Started out as a software engineer building products. And for the last 5 years, I've been focused on applying data science and economics to different problems in urban environment, crime, education. And most recently, I was an economist at Grab, which is Uber in Singapore, working on pricing and valuation models. So when it comes to real estate asset pricing and leasing, there are some of the most complex decisions an asset manager or property managers have to make. There are long leases, specifically for office, retail, and industrial asset classes. There are several factors to consider. Each property is unique, so pricing varies by property type, its location, history, and so it really becomes difficult for a human to sort of process all this information and make optimal pricing decisions. The current status quo is property managers use list of comparable spaces and comparable leases, historical data, and use that as a reference to price properties. We take a different view. We think commercial real estate market is kind of similar to a stock market. You're constantly seeing fluctuations in supply and demand in the market, and it's this dynamic market. And therefore we set out to make software to solve some of these complex pricing and leasing challenges for asset managers. So let's talk about some of these leasing and pricing decisions that asset managers have to make, or landlords. From a landlord's perspective, it's how do you approach pricing strategically and then adjust rental rates and set lease variables. So factors like credit history or tenant credit, its effect on asset values, long-term leases, high cash flow. So if you're a landlord and you're considering selling your property, or you're looking to refinance, maybe you want to max out on rental income in the year that you're going to refinance. So for later stages of the rental. So yeah, upon lease expiration, you have you're going to have to make, as a landlord, you make decisions on whether to renew or find a new tenant. So we really help asset owners make informed decisions on these, and So yeah, deal analysis, looking at cap rates, how those deals are going to impact your cap rate, credit impact, and then our product also helps asset from a portfolio level. Our product also helps asset managers test performance under different market and economic scenarios. So things like what happens to a portfolio or an asset performance when inflation changes? Um, how does that impact cap rates? Ultimately, what it really comes down to is cash flow, the net operating income, and the asset, the underlying value of the asset. So I think we're all familiar with how sort of last few months have radically changed the industry. And it's well documented. There's uncertainty around pricing, valuation, volatility in the market. One metric that I really like to track is Green Street's commercial property price index. And October 2020, we're still down 10%. And that's 10% from pre-pandemic levels. And that's where we were at in 2015, I believe. So the 5 years of growth that we've had all kind of like wiped away in that in last 6-7 months or so. And there's a lot of sort of mismatch in expectations as well. So like buyers are looking for bargain deals, and then sellers are kind of hoping for the best price they can get in the market. And this is coming directly from Green Street advisors on their platform. So what we have done is we have built a decision support system to optimize these leasing and pricing decisions. We've built proprietary models and algorithms trained on historical market data like asking rents, vacancy rates, rental growth, unemployment in the industry. And we have variables that vary depending on what asset we're looking at. So office we would consider non-farm employment. For retail, it's foot traffic, it's consumption, it's spending, and similarly for industrial as well. What we've been able to do with our models and algorithms is really uncover how rental prices change over time and what are some of the trigger points or demand determinants based on like underlying economic and market forces. Our ultimate goal here is to make the process of leasing and pricing decisions 10x better and materially move the cap rates for the properties. So in terms of the data, we collect data from several different sources. It's marketing data, which is tours, phone calls, inquiries into specific properties, website visits, internet listings, market velocity. We measure how quickly a property is moving through the market. Location data. I think we saw a great presentation on location data right before this. We're also looking at macroeconomic variables and how those affect cap rates. And we also tap into some of the property management software that our clients use for accounting data as well. And all of this is aggregated into our engine to make recommendations that improve yields on the property. So I'll quickly jump into the demo. Cool. So you guys should be able to see a landing page.
We can. Yeah.
Awesome. So so there's two parts to our product. It's the first one is the listing site where we collect information about the properties, its characteristics, its attributes, and this feeds into our pricing product, which is what I'll jump into right away. So I've pre-filled some of the data. So a user enters location information, address, what kind of property they're looking to price. Is it a new lease or renewal? Class, characteristics like size, and lease term as well. So how long is the lease for, and asking rents. Some amenities as well. So when the user hit generate comps, what are, oops. Gonna have to, all right, I'll just use this just in case. Sorry, I apologize for that. Yeah, so user enters all of this information into the platform. And what the product does, it finds comparable spaces. So really, there are three components to how we think about pricing a commercial real estate asset. It's comps, it's market, and it's leasing variables. So it's things like concession, what are the operating costs, who's paying for some of the improvements before signing a lease. So, right. Yeah, so hit generate comps. Yeah, so it's going to find neighboring properties that are similar to the property that you're looking to price. And then you can see there is transit scores, and we use a lot of location information in the background to ensure that our properties are indeed comparable. And then users can also enter a new property. So we may not have that information, so they can kind of enter information about the properties that they are lease information that they have as well. So market data is so based on current market information, we make adjustments to the base price, and this could be if it's low vacancy, high demand, which our models recommend. And that puts upward pressure on rental prices. So we add an adjustment to rental prices based on market information and what our models are suggesting. And then the second thing we look at is market velocity. So how likely are you to find a tenant in the market as well? So absorption rates. And the third layer of pricing that we add is it's lease variables, and these are negotiable, right? So these are something that there is a little bit of art to leasing, and these variables are something that asset managers, property managers negotiate with the tenants, and once they enter all of this information, we can calculate if it's a new lease, what's the vacancy loss like, how much, what's the impact on cap rate based on tenants' credit information, which we can pull through some of our data sources as well. And then, a client can kind of analyze different cash flow scenarios and see what that looks like over time. And and then they can take a snapshot of this and then share that as a PDF as well. So with relevant stakeholders. Cool. So that was the demo, and then it's fairly large market. I think everyone in this room is aware. There are certain adjacent companies in the market that have built similar products for multifamily, but we're the first ones to sort of tackle this for retail, industrial, and office spaces. That's it. Thank you. Feel free to get in touch for more information. Happy to chat and show you a demo as well.
Great, thank you very much. That was fabulous. All right, so with that, a couple of housekeeping notes. So at 4 o'clock this afternoon, there is a keynote with Mark Ganzi, CEO of Colonial Capital, where he's going to talk about Colonial Capital's rotation into digital marketing. So that is in the main auditorium. So if you have, if you have some time, please, strongly suggest that you go visit that. I think it'll be an interesting session. And then on, tomorrow we're going to be having back-to-back panels on operations, both in the morning and in the afternoon, starting from 11 to 1 and again 2 to 4. and we'll have those folks in the exhibit hall as well. So again, if there's, if you can, please join us. We look forward to it. And thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Ultimately, sometime probably next week, all of the demos will be available on YouTube for everybody to watch and enjoy. So again, I want to thank you very much for attending and joining us today at the first day of PropTech Challenge, and hope you enjoy the rest of the day at the Connected Virtual event. So thank you and have a great evening.
Thank you, Sandy.
And Aaron, thank you. And Aaron, thank you for the Connected team and the support from Purple, helping the speakers, the panelists, the presenters navigate through the technology. And it was great to see the technology hurdles kind of disappear with the morning as we got into the afternoon and go much more smoothly, which is great and exciting. And people should get out there and network and walk up and have conversations with some of their peers in this virtual world that we live in. If not, depending on where you live, go hang out on the beach. It's nice and sunny out there with the sound of the oceans. So it's a nice change of pace from a workday, making believe that you're at a conference somewhere warm and balmy. So again, thank you all, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. And remember, we'll be streaming live as well on YouTube.